So amidst all of the earthquakes and tornadoes we have had lately, these socialists are pressuring Congress to declare climate change as a national emergency. I have just made a video a few weeks back how the Pope is declaring climate change a national emergency. We all should know this by now. It is nothing but a hoax to usher in the National Sunday Law. That's what Pope Francis is pushing for. Look, I want to share this article with you. It says Bernie Sanders of Vermont teamed up with Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez of New York and Oregon's Earl Blumenauer on Tuesday to unveil a new resolution that would declare climate change a national emergency. There is a climate emergency which demands a massive scale mobilization to halt, reverse, and address its consequences and causes, the bill's authors wrote. While it does not call for specific action, the legislation states in sharp terms that climate change is a human-made problem that threatens the fortunes of millions of Americans and demands immediate political action. The largely symbolic legislation has little chance of making any headway in the Republican-held Senate, but provides Sanders, who has proposed radical steps to effectively wipe out the fossil fuel industry, with a tangible example of his efforts to take on major problems of particular concern to young voters. While the Senate resolution originates out of Sanders' Capitol Hill office, it has obvious implications in the 2020 Democratic presidential primary. The Vermont Independent has found himself lagging behind former Vice President Joe Biden, while Elizabeth Warren of Massachusetts, a progressive ally who recently rolled out a preview of her vision for the Green New Deal, is surging. Kamala Harris of California, too, is enjoying a post-debate bump. Sanders and his team have projected confidence despite the bouncing poll numbers, plowing ahead with policy rollouts and proposals designed to highlight his progressive credentials and priorities. His campaign has also attempted to build the case that his brand of progressive politics is consistent and unique, with the legislation as a prime example. Sanders said that setting to work building a coalition of world leaders to address climate change while confronting fossil fuel industry leaders would be at the top of his to-do list on his first day as president. The problem is the lack of political will, Sanders said on a call with Ocasio-Cortez, Blumenauer, and climate activists. The fact is that the problem is that we have a president who is ignorant regarding this issue, completely and dangerously ignorant. Continues on, all three lawmakers said Tuesday that the declaration was necessary because the issue of climate change, given the scientific consensus around its causes, had moved entirely into the realm of politics. By taking this step, they argued Congress would signal its willingness to enact significant changes, including taking the first steps toward turning the controversial and still largely conceptual Green New Deal into a reality. Ocasio-Cortez and Blumenauer cast the resolution as a necessary beginning in what they view as a long flight ahead to implementing key pieces of the Green New Deal. In order for us to enact the scales of solution, we have to acknowledge the scale of the problem, Ocasio-Cortez said, and that's exactly what declaring a climate emergency does. The trio, along with the activist supporters, cast Trump's willingness to agitate for unrelated or dubious national emergency declarations in contrast with their own goal, which brings a legitimate crisis with global implications to the forefront. We're going to have to take on the greed of the fossil fuel industry and the ignorance of Donald Trump and transform our energy system in a very bold way. Sanders said, and not only that, climate change is not just obviously an American issue, it is a global issue. What we need is American leadership demanding that countries all over the world work together to transform our energy system. While the resolution faces an uphill battle in the Senate, it is expected to meet a more welcoming reception in the House, where Democrats hold the majority. But even the introduction of the resolution, no matter its immediate fate, is likely to become a political weapon used against Sanders and other primary candidates. Republicans have argued the Democratic support for the Green New Deal could lead to economic disaster or crisis. It is a large ocasio-cortez rejects. What we have seen is a decades-long attempt by the fossil fuel industry to sow discord and misinformation as it relates to climate change, she said, and I do think there should be an effort to hold them accountable. Do you see how insane this is? This mainstream media is not there to give you news. They're there to mold your thinking. They are globalists. They want to destroy America from the inside out. But listen, it's more than that. It's been prophesied. The Pope is the head of this climate change nonsense. He is the biggest influencer of this world. He is influencing America to push this agenda. As a matter of fact, the book of Revelation chapter 13 says in verses 11 through 15, "And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had 2 horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. And he exerciseth all the power of the first beast before him, and causeth the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. And he doeth great wonders, so that he can maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men, and deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth, that they should make an image to the beast which had the wound by a sword, and did live, and he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. You know that this beast rises up out of the earth. This beast is the United States of America. According to Daniel 7:23, a beast represents a kingdom or nation, and these 2 horns represent powers. So since there are 2 horns on this lamb, there are 2 powers: Protestantism and Republicanism. Protestantism is a religion without a pope, and Republicanism is a nation without a king. The United States were based on these 2 powers, and considering this was a lamb-like beast, the lamb being Jesus Christ, this nation was based on Christian values. But notice how there is being a shift here. This lamb-like beast is now speaking like a dragon. And how does a nation speak? Through its laws and legislation. And the dragon represents none other than the devil himself. So if this nation is now speaking as a dragon, the laws that are being enacted will be opposed to God's laws, correct? For example, in June of 2015, gay marriage was legalized in all 50 states. That law is against God. So it's been happening for a while now. So it says that the United States of America will form an image to the first beast, being the papacy. What did the papacy do? They murdered over 50 million Christians from 538 AD to 1798 AD. As I have said before, the Sunday laws are a part of this climate change. A whole day to have a family day on Sunday. And this is the mark of the beast. And if you refuse this mark, you won't be able to buy or sell. And eventually, you might just be put to death. We've studied this subject, haven't we? The things are coming to fruition, and they are coming a lot sooner than we realize. The whole world will wonder after this beast, and that is why we are being called out of this world, out of this darkness into His marvelous light. Praise God that He never fails and that He is in control. Get ready. This is John Tinsley with Everlasting Rock Ministries, and always remember, the truth never fails. God bless you.